Okay, my name is Clint Craig. This video is being made for Psychology 301, Human Issues and Dilemmas in Social Sciences. This is the second portion of our video debate project. In the first portion, my partner and I debated over abortion. I was for it, she was against it. So basically the format that we're dealing with here is, this is going to be a rebuttal video. So after reviewing her video, I have to respond to it and basically share my thoughts on her video and respond to her reasoning for being against abortion. Okay, so the first thing that my partner and I talked about, both of us did in our initial video, was Roe versus Wade, and that's the big Supreme Court decision from 1973. Her main point on that was that Roe went on to change her mind later on in life in 1995. I feel that that is interesting that she went on to change her mind, but I feel that it's also somewhat hypocritical in that it's very easy for her to change her views as she's older and no longer in need of those services. Also, she didn't really say that, if other women go on to change their views later in life after abortion or not. So we don't know if this was just a, individual thing or if this is a regular thing among women. And while I understand that the world changes and sometimes, the world changes to a point where we have to change with it, but at the same time, I feel like the Supreme Court has already decided this case, so it's kind of baffling to me as to why, we're still debating it so heavily without some concrete reason why we need to revisit it. And the next thing that my partner went on to talk about was how life is defined and also the Indiana laws that govern abortion. My partner discussed these things, but she never really went into detail on how she thought they should be changed or why they thought they should be changed. So to be honest, I was somewhat confused at what I was supposed to contest with that, as I feel personal opinions are largely irrelevant without a factual background. And the next thing that my partner discussed was the stages of fetal development. She was very thorough in going over this. She went week by week from conception all the way up until birth, detailing the developments that take place within the fetus. Other than, an emotional appeal here or what I would call a guilt trip, I don't really feel that there's any, factual evidence for why abortion should not be legal within that, as I'm not contesting that, a pregnancy would continue to develop like normal without abortion. I acknowledge that without abortion, the pregnancy would continue, the fetus would continue to develop like normal, but I just don't feel like that's really what we're debating here. And one quick thought on that is just that I understand that the right to life thing is really big, but I feel like a right to life doesn't necessarily imply a right to use someone else's body. And a situation I feel like somewhat mirrors that is that when we die, we aren't required to donate our organs, and our organs could potentially save a life, but we aren't required to do that. So I feel like that's just a scenario that's, somewhat similar, and with that, it just comes down to personal opinion, or personal choice, I guess you would say, and I feel like that's how it is with abortion as well. After that, my partner went on to discuss abortion procedures, the difference between pill abortions and surgical abortions. And while I do acknowledge that some of them did sound pretty gruesome, I don't really see anything there other than another emotional appeal. And while I don't doubt that that might change the mind of some women, it doesn't really change things for society or indicate that, if we make abortion illegal, that it will be better for our society as a whole. And another thing that I wanted to touch on is my partner's statement that she feels abortion is the cruelest form of murder. I just feel like that's a really hard statement to back up when we consider that a fetus doesn't really know what's going on. It doesn't know anyone, in comparison to an adult who has family, friends, a life. They're out on their own. They're not dependent on a mother. I just feel like there are much more cruel deaths that can take place. And in fact, I would argue that in some instances, abortion can even be the humane thing to do if the mother knows she's not capable of taking care of the child, or if the child is going to, die quickly due to circumstances or whatever the case may be. So in closing, I would just say that, while I was reviewing my partner's video, I didn't see any evidence or factual information that would lead me to believe that making abortion illegal would make our society better, or any, again, factual information or evidence that would make me think that, making abortion illegal is the best move for our society. And until that information comes forward, or, we get some proof, I feel like, abortion should remain legal, and that's my view on it.